listening to the Saluki Gamescast. This is episode 143 for Monday, May 11th, 2026. My name is Justin Young. Joining me as always is Mario Sanders and Christina.
I just knew it was. I assumed because it's been a while.
No, I was just being excited.
Oh.
See, this is what happens when you pick at her long enough. She starts taking care of the mocking of herself.
Let me handle this. No one mocks me like I mock me.
How are the two of you doing?
Good.
Yeah.
I just got some grading that I still need to do.
Mm-hmm. I have to upload grades, but yeah.
It's one of those things, I know it's not going to take that long, but I just haven't done it
Same.
yet. So I need to do that. But otherwise, it's pretty good.
That's the hardest part of grading, right? It's just motivating yourself to sit down, especially with papers. It's easier with tests.
Well, and I think especially because I know it's not that much, compared to previous semesters or the end of the semesters or the end of the year, there's I've got all these things I need to grade. It's one thing that I have to grade, and it's just I've got time, but it's just putting it off unnecessarily.
I'll watch wrestling all weekend instead.
That's basically what I did.
I didn't watch wrestling, but I did. I slept most of the weekend. We had a couple of sister things last week, but yeah, I was very proud of myself for staying up on grades this year or this semester, to where I only had their final speeches to put into the grade book, and so I thought I would be done on Thursday or Friday, and that is not the case.
Your choir had a big event.
Oh, yeah.
In the last week or so?
Yeah, it was
two events.
So they had their concert not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before. So I went to that because I after my show, I couldn't do anything. I was so physically and mentally exhausted.
Okay.
That I but I
just took a step back.
Yes. But I definitely went to the concert, and it was so good. Mm-hmm. It was really, really good. They did a beautiful job. And then Tuesday Sandy and I left to go to Chicago for a friend's wedding. Sakshi got married. So that's where I was all day Wednesday. And then Thursday night, the choir had a big gay dance party at Hangar. Which is exactly what it sounded. It was just a big gay dance party. And so Sister Benedetta
Not
was
at
there.
A literal hangar, but at a local bar.
Yes, Hangar 9, the local bar, yes. And Sister Benedetta was there blessing the people and glitter anointing them.
Literally dousing them with glitter?
I had a palette, an eyeshadow glitter palette, and so they would come up, and I think they expected me to be funny, but then I would say stuff like, you're a lovely part of our community or whatever. So I had a lot of people cry over glitter. It was great.
I could see that. I'm getting blessed by glitter. I would assume that's tongue-in-cheek.
Yes, for sure.
So if the person was super serious, it might catch me off guard.
Yeah.
Mario, we talked a lot about wrestling last episode. Do you want to give us a quick report on the weekend?
So I guess this past weekend on Saturday was Backlash, which is the pay-per-view after WrestleMania. It was fine. One match in particular was Io Sky and Asuka, which I think was probably the best match of the night. There were no bad matches. It was a pretty solid, it was a B+. But the other thing that I watched that was phenomenal was All-Star Grand Queendom 2026, which is Stardom's sort of big pay-per-view event. Stardom is a Japanese all-women's professional wrestling promotion. And so they had their big event was, I would say, is maybe a week or two after WrestleMania, but I finally got around to watching it just last week, and it's one of the best start to finish pay-per-views I think I've ever watched. Well, I mean, it's very long. It's 12 matches, but it was really, really good. And Stardom is kind of currently in the process of one of my favorite wrestling storylines. I think of all time. I think it's really good, and so. Yeah, I mean that is of the pay-per-views to watch, that is the one to watch. Yeah, it was very good.
And to say nothing of AEW wrestling on a golf course.
That's true. I did also watch
fake golf
I
course.
did also watch AEW wrestle at their indoor golf course, whatever that golf organization is called.
I believe the event
TGL
was
or something like that.
Fairway to Hell.
That was
a good name.
That was AEW's name for the episode.
Right.
That's a good one.
Yeah, pretty entertaining to watch people getting body slammed into bunkers.
Yeah.
So I did watch a little of that and found it at the very least entertaining, which is more than I can say for WWE some days. So
Yeah.
all right. Yeah, I think that's pretty much everything that's going on. We'll go ahead and say up front, like, this is going to be our last episode before we head on hiatus for the summer. We don't know when we'll be back. Probably July sometime we might do another episode, just depending on how people's schedules work out and when people are in and out of town. But at least for the month, the rest of May and for the month of June, I don't anticipate us recording anything. So just a heads up on that. If you're looking at your podcast app and wondering where this podcast went, it's just our normal summer hiatus.
Now is the time to catch up on your backlog, because there will not be new episodes added.
Or catch up on the Communication Studies podcast.
Oh, yeah.
If you haven't been listening to those.
So there's a whole story there. We'll tell it on the Comm Studies podcast when we return.
But I mean, if you're really missing out on hearing Mario and Christina, just the last two episodes are
It's true.
and like a lot of Mario and Christina. So you can get like overdosed on them in the meantime to maybe pad your way out until they get back. Anyways, that does it for that. Let me move on to the news. And we just recorded our last episode on Thursday. This is Monday. You wouldn't think there'd be a whole lot of news, but bizarrely there was. I think the biggest news is that Nintendo has announced they are raising the price of the Switch 2 by $50 starting on September 1st. I like this strategy of we are announcing this several months in advance, because that is obviously Nintendo saying, hey, we think this might get a bunch of you to hurry up and buy a Switch 2 real quick, right? Yeah. You can save $50 if you buy it quickly.
It's interesting. I didn't even register that when they made the announcement that it's like, we're doing this in 3 months.
Right.
Yeah. I actually just had the thought it was like, get Switch. Because I still haven't bought one. And I'm like, oh, yeah.
So it is working.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Nintendo is the latest of the hardware manufacturers to raise prices. Just real quick here, the Switch is going from $450 to $500. The Xbox Series X has already went from $500 to $650. The PlayStation 5, the same thing, from $500 to $650. This is for the PlayStation 5 with disk drive, not the digital version. And the PS5 Pro has went from $700 to $900, which just makes that system sound insane every time I say the price. That is more than a Neo Geo. And the Neo Geo felt like an insane price when I was a kid. And like to hear a modern console selling for more than that feels crazy to me. But yeah, so, Christine, you say this is maybe motivating you to buy a Switch 2 sooner than later?
Just because I know I wanted one, and I'm still kicking myself for not doing it earlier, but finances and stuff. So, yeah, this will probably push me to do it. Because I know I'm going to want one.
Right.
And just with everything else happening, who knows when or if that price will go down at all.
Right.
So it's better, I guess, to get it now and save $50 than not.
Yeah, I think if you're looking at this thinking in the next year I'll buy a Switch or Switch 2,
right?
Like it makes an awful lot of sense to go ahead and bite the bullet now rather than wait. I mean, if financially you can manage that.
Yeah.
I know I have a friend, I think I've mentioned this on the podcast. I have a friend who, and her daughter does not listen to the podcast, so I can say this, who is buying her daughter a PlayStation 5 for like 8th grade graduation. That's her 8th grade graduation present.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was texting me the other day, like, hey, is this a good price on one? And it was like a refurbished one from Sony directly. And I said, look, anything below $600 is like actually a pretty good price.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, that sounds crazy.
But it's absolutely true.
Yeah. But like, I do wonder, you know, we've talked a lot about this, so I don't want to spend too much time on it, but I do wonder how this affects the industry long term, because when you start getting over $500, that's a lot of money for a parent to lay out for a kid for graduation present, birthday, Christmas present. You know, that's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That, or I also think about just like, you know, college age students who, you know, maybe their parents aren't buying one, they're past that point, but like, you know, they're already not making very much money if, you know, they're working at, you know, as a server at a restaurant or, you know, retail or something like that. That's, you know,
or living off a grad student stipend.
Yeah. I mean, that's a sizable portion of whatever your monthly income is.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think like that is another one of those other, you know, demographics, excuse me, one of those other demographics that just becomes like out of the price range. Like, well, maybe I just go to the used games store and get a PS4 or, you know, the pawn shop and get a PS3 or something like that. That, you know, these games are old, but that's not what is going to bother me about this.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point. Like anybody who's working an hourly job, but like even, you know, like I'm salaried, and $500 is a lot of money.
Absolutely.
To spend, right? Like it's not something. It's not the sort of thing like, and $200 is more sort of reasonable as an impulse purchase, right? Like, and I know people are going to say, well, it depends on what your salary is and everything. But like for me, when it gets to $500, I need to think about it for a while, right? Before I spend that kind of money. Whereas, you know, when it's down around 200, which generally speaking, 5+ years into a console's lifespan, which is what we are for the PlayStation and Xbox, traditionally those consoles were down around the $200 or sub $200 price point at this point. And so when you start seeing them at this,
they're twice as expensive as that.
Yeah, like it becomes a lot harder for, I think, people to go, oh, I really want to play the new Madden football, or I want to play Grand Theft Auto 6 when it comes out this fall. You know, at $200, that's, you can go, okay, I'll spend $260 to get that, $270, I guess. But it's a lot harder when it's $570 or $670.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think that's what we've talked about a number of times. Of it's at this point, you just save up a month or two longer, get a PC that's going to have multi functionality as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, people need computers.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, obviously there's multi-functionality with the console if you can do all like your streaming services and stuff like that on there. But like, you know, your computer, you're probably using every day, regardless of what your job is. But yeah, so I mean, like I could certainly see that being an angle as well.
Well, along with the price raise, the Nintendo also put out their quarterly results. As part of that, they announced that they have sold 19.86 million consoles. Those are Switch 2 consoles, I should note. That puts them about 5 million ahead of the Switch 1 at the same point in its lifespan. You know, which I think we should note with that the Switch 2 has not had the supply issues that other consoles have traditionally had, like even the Switch 1. Like you can walk into any store and buy a Switch 2 today for the most part.
Right.
I think the other thing that's important to recognize with this is that the Switch also had a late surge, right, with COVID and people buying them. And so now it might be a lot of those people that didn't get one until COVID, which was 3 years into the lifespan at least, 4 years maybe, who are now like, oh, the Switch 2 is out. Sure, I might as well just get one now. And so I could definitely see that being one of those reasons why that number is so high above where the Switch 1 was.
I think there was also a lot of skepticism about the Switch 1.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because we were coming off the Wii U, which had been a failure, and Nintendo was switching strategies to this combo system. They were the first ones to do the like sort of combo system.
Yeah, whether or not the hybrid was just going to work.
Right.
Was it going to be janky and weird? And obviously it has worked out well, but
I mean, it really helped them then that first year. They had Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild because they had two like AAA games that showed like, yes, you can play some of the best games ever made on this system.
Yeah.
But I still feel like before that system came out, there was a whole lot of skepticism
Yeah.
oh, definitely.
Sure.
around it. There was
Definitely.
excitement, but there was also, is this Nintendo's like last fumble?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there wasn't that with the Switch 2. I think people were much more excited for the Switch 2 at launch.
Yeah, because it does. It feels like post Wii U heading into the Switch, it really was like, this might be Nintendo's last chance to like save itself as a hardware company. Like
Their make or break moment.
Yeah, the software is always going to be there, but like the hardware, who knows? Maybe maybe they go fully
Is this their Dreamcast?
handheld. And they just let the other two companies deal with like the home consoles.
Yeah, what a wild 10 years later.
Yeah,
right?
seriously.
Looking back, and Nintendo seems maybe the most solid-footed of any of these companies at this point. So as part of this, they also announced software sales of some different titles. So I thought we'd just talk about a few of those real quick. Mario Kart World has sold 14.7 million copies. If you start looking at that, that's about what would that be? A 3/4 attach rate.
Yeah.
So 3 out of every 4 people who buy a Switch buy a copy of Mario Kart World with it. Now, that includes those pack-in numbers, right? So that's a 1-to-1, and probably a lot of people are buying that package.
That's what I was thinking.
But, there are people who are buying that game separately too. So, that is, we knew, like, given the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sold something like 70 million copies so far, we kind of knew that game would sell extremely well. And it seems like Nintendo was right in a lot of ways to launch with that because it is selling quite well. Donkey Kong Bonanza has sold 4.5 million copies. That makes it one of the better selling Donkey Kong games ever. I think the original Donkey Kong Country is still the best selling. It sold something like 9 million on the Super Nintendo. But this game, is coming up on its 1 year anniversary. It's already at 4.5 million. And you have to think that's a game that's going to be evergreen, is going to continue to sell as more people get Switch 2s.
And if these numbers do not include digital sales as well, that's always how Nintendo presents numbers, right?
No, I think these
okay.
do because these are directly from Nintendo.
Okay.
It's the Circana numbers
I
that
see.
don't include, because those are just coming directly from retailers.
Sure.
But yeah, like 4.5 million, pretty good. I feel like for that game. Pokemon Legends ZA, 3.9 million, and that's just on the Switch 2 version. I would assume that also includes, they sold like a separate upgrade, right, for that. So I would assume that includes that as well. But anyways, 3.9 million. Pokemon Pocopia, 2.4 million, which, given that game came out, February?
Yeah.
March?
I want to say early March,
Okay.
late February, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty good so far.
I think so.
Kirby Air Riders 1.8 million. I think that's really good for that game.
I think so too.
I think if you look at those sell figures and you say that game is going to end up crossing 2 million, I think if that game can sell 2 million copies, Nintendo's got to be pretty happy.
I would think so.
Because that was never going to be a blockbuster game. Tomodachi Life. Now, this does include Switch 1 sales as part of it. It's at 3.8 million.
I honestly, Tomodachi Life and Pokemon Pokopia, like, to me, that's people wanting a new Animal Crossing.
Yes.
And so I'm not super surprised, like, impressed, especially, like, by Pokopia, but not super surprised just because people want Animal. I mean, that's what did the resurgence, I think, in the Switch 1 is everybody was trapped at home with COVID and so got Animal Crossing. Because I had no interest. I want to say I watched the Switch, what is it called? Or not Switch, Nintendo Direct. I want to say I watched it with Mario, like right before like we had to go home for COVID, and both of us were just like, Animal Crossing, what is this? And then I ended up picking it up because of COVID.
Such snobs.
Well, it's just like, what is
I had at least played the first one, so I was like, I know this game isn't for me.
I was like, what is this child game? What is this? It's magic. That's what it is, Christina. It will save you because you will have things to do during COVID. Every day when you wake up, as soon as you wake up, you eat breakfast and then you go capture bugs. That's what you do.
You and Amy wrote a whole paper about it.
We did. Well, yes.
Sort of.
Like,
you presented a whole thing on it.
We did, actually, because like we the way that we built our island. So I mean, it was a big deal, and I think that's what those two games are trying to capture.
Yeah, and I think Tomodachi Life surprises me because that first or the last game, which was on 3DS, right?
Yes.
Was very successful, sold very well, particularly in Japan, and which I think is probably where a lot of these sales are coming from. But I just felt like there wasn't a huge amount of hype really for either of these games. Yeah. Felt like more for Pokopia because it was Pokemon. It did have that advantage to it.
So Tomodachi Life has really grown, I think, by a lot of like streamers playing it.
Yes, that's where I've seen it.
Lots of viral clips on different social media.
What's interesting, like, about Pokopia, we have someone in our department who was talking about this game, and I didn't even know how to Switch, Erin. I didn't even know she had a Switch, and apparently she bought the Switch just to play this game, and I was like, are you a big Pokemon fan? And she was like, absolutely not. So she just...
Don't ever.
Yeah. Like, how dare you accuse me? She was like, it just looked really cute.
I can respect her for that.
Yeah. Right? And so it was just interesting that, like, I don't know if they realized that this would have the appeal beyond Pokemon fans that it has.
Well, I know Shelby has also recently picked it up as well. And
that's what got Shelby to buy one.
I mean, I know Scott is a big Pokemon fan, but I don't think Shelby cares about Pokemon at all.
But this has the what is it? The Hello Kitty appeal, right? Hello Kitty's Island,
Animal Crossing, and Island Adventure that she has also loved.
She has the Animal Crossing Lego set set up near her desk in her house, and it's really cool. Like, and so she was huge on the Animal Crossing bus. So it's
because she will not play a game in which you have to fight a thing.
Yes.
I have, we've talked about Stardew a number of times, but she's like, I don't want to have to go into the mines and fight something. Yeah. I'm like, you know what? I mean, you kind of do have to do that to some extent, but like, I guess I respect.
I was like,
have you told her about Undertale that she can do a pacifist run?
I think that would stress her out. I think she would admire that, but I think it would stress her out.
I was like, did you not get chased around your island by the stupid tarantulas? Like I was terrified of them, and then or the scorpions. It felt like a fight. How did you capture those, Shelby? But
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. Both of these titles are tapping into that cozy, sort of laid back sort of game that has really kind of come of age like in the last 5 to 10 years. Stardew being an excellent example of that. And I think there's a huge market there, right? Is a huge market of people who don't want to play the Madden football or the Resident Evil 9, but they want to play video games.
Yeah. I heard somebody describe Tomodachi Life, and I thought it was so perfect. They basically said, "Oh, it's time to go play with my dolls."
Yeah.
It's like, it is really like exactly what it is. And I think it's like such a good, like I said, a good description of it. Cause like I'm playing with these dolls that I made, whether it be real people that I know, or I've made Gollum.
Maybe that's what the Pocopia thing is. It's like for the horse girls that always wanted to have like little creatures or something that they built things for.
I can't have a horse. I'll have an Eevee.
Yeah. This thing kinda
Clydesdale is in that game. You just get a horse. Clydesdale, Mudsdale.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's always been the appeal of Animal Crossing, right? Animal Crossing is build your own dollhouse.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's dollhouse construction kit. They actually made that one game that was like all decorating.
Happy home. Yeah.
And that was the appeal of the original one on the GameCube, or the original in the US at least. When I played that, it was like, oh, this is like, I get to build my own little island and I get to decorate my house however I want, right? And there's something very appealing about that. I think I get a little exhausted with these games, where I kind of just don't want to play one for a while.
Sure.
But, like I played a lot of Stardew Valley. That's a really cool game. Right. And it's just you building a farm, but like, that's a really cool game. And like, I completely get one that gets people who don't normally play games.
Yeah.
And I think if Shelby could get mad enough where she would want to kill something, she would probably get really into that.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell her, tell her what the people in the mines, who they voted for. Might win her over. Let's see. The last thing here is that Fire Red and Leaf Green have sold 4 million copies. These are the re-releases that they recently put on Switch. This is maybe the least shocking thing to me. Like, Nintendo can literally just put out old Pokemon games and they'll sell millions.
See, I was like, I can't believe that those games sold 4 million copies, because it's like a 20-year-old game that you can just play literally like anywhere elsewhere. But but people love Pokemon.
Well, I think we've talked about it on here before, right? Like, emulation's not difficult for you. You do a lot of emulation to play old games, but for a lot of people, that's way too complicated.
Yeah.
And I know it's super easy now. I know like multiple different emulators have made that, very simple compared to how it once was. But, when I have students that in class, when I have them emulate games who struggle with it, and they're not dumb, it's just that's something they've never done before.
Sure.
And it's like way challenging. And I think also like, if you have other tools to do that, but they want something portable, and here's my Switch, which is already portable. I can take it everywhere I go. And now it can just have my old Pokemon games on it. Right? I'm not going to buy a $50 imported thing from China that I have to load ROMs onto. I will, but most people won't, right? And so, like, I get that. Like, I mean, I think we talked to Frankie. Didn't Frankie say that he was buying them?
I don't remember if Frankie was buying them. I know Scott bought them.
Oh, okay.
At least bought one of them.
Yeah. What's that? Oh. Yeah, we went right into news. We skipped over what we were playing, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. I noticed that too, but I was like, I haven't been here in a while. Maybe we've already
That's Christina. They changed the whole formula on me.
We're really screwing with Christina.
Like I said, no one mocks me like I mock me.
Look, Mario's calling me out in the middle of the show, so
it was one of those things where, like, you know, in the past weeks we've done like a preview of the news, but then we went like fully into it. I'm like, all right, I guess we'll figure some other time. Like, maybe Justin just missed it.
Yeah.
Look, we'll just run through the news and then we'll go to what we've been playing instead of just stopping in the middle.
This feels like it's a transition point.
Which, by the way, because you can't see this, Mario just scooted his paper over and just did a slight little tap at the top of the page.
Mario's been watching too many viral videos where they tap everything, which I gotta say is the most obnoxious like trend on social media right now.
I don't even know what this is.
You haven't seen this?
I think it's funny.
Like every time somebody makes like a video now, like if they were like showing you this Coke bottle, they would do this. And then like they would like turn and show you the nutritional facts and then they would like tap it.
So the ones that I've seen have been like women talking or sending videos to like their husbands where it's like they like tap the clothes and then they tap the hamper that's like less than 2 feet from the clothes kind of thing, or they tap the dirty glass in the sink and then tap the dishwasher. So
well, I mean, where it has evolved is now it is the like little pointer finger on an extension pole,
the little gloved hand.
Yeah, and they're like using that to do it, but like it's just like I think it's one of those things like most people don't have audio on their phone when they're watching stuff because they're like at work or in public. And so it is a way to like
this
draw
is what
your
I'm
attention.
indicating. This is what I want you to see in this video.
But like it's just very obnoxious. It's like one of those things where you're like, okay, like I get it. Like frame the shot around the thing you want me to see.
Anyway, that's what Mario did.
You're going to hold your phone over it, like actually shoot
Mario
the video.
just sent a picture of the top part of our agenda to Justin.
Just posting it on the group chat. Are we doing this? Oh, all right. Well, let's run through the rest of the news and we'll get to what we've been playing. Look, I wanted to backlog what we've been playing. I have a good reason. That's the real. That's the real justification.
Sure, okay. I'll trust the process.
Look, It worked out for the 76ers, didn't it?
Sorta.
It did not, audience.
Making the playoffs and getting eliminated in like the first or second round is your goal.
Yeah. Let's see. The Mortal Kombat 2 movie opened over the weekend. It made $40 million. That's the unofficial number. Official numbers will be out sometime today. But I thought this was kind of interesting. It made $40 million in its opening weekend. The first Mortal Kombat movie in this new franchise, not the one from the 90s, but the one that came out in 2021, I believe. That made $42 million for its entire run. Now, that was in the middle of COVID. It was released on HBO Max the same day it was released into theaters. So I don't feel like that number's really fair, but I think it's a good comparison to be like this movie in its first weekend made as much as the last one made in its entire run.
Sure. Well, that's what I was going to say. I was like, I feel like that was right at COVID time. So that makes sense. No, I mean, it's one of those things that you think about video game adaptations and film. This is a number that I guess just continues to affirm, like, if they're done well, people do want to see them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you'll remember this movie was supposed to come out last October, and they pushed it to May because they thought it could open bigger. I think maybe this wasn't the best weekend for this to open because it was Mother's Day weekend, and this.
Yeah, Mom, let's go see Mortal Kombat.
I mean, it got beat by Devil Wears Prada 2, which
unsurprising.
Is a Mother's Day sort of movie. Like that's the movie you take mom to see. Or
I think that movie probably beats it regardless.
Well, but it's the second weekend for that movie.
Okay. Oh,
right?
Sure. Okay.
So,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, opening weekend, it definitely did beat it. But like it beat it in its second weekend. And I think, I think part of that is just hype for that movie, but I think part of it also is like a lot of moms probably went to see Devil Wears Prada yesterday for Mother's Day, right? Or maybe the kids stayed at home and mom went and watched the movie by herself. And dad took care of the kids while mom was at the movies enjoying herself. Yeah. But anyways, 40 million, we'll see how it performs over the weeks. That's what really matters. Does it hold up decently well? It's not a disaster at the very least. It's not amazing. It's not, an $80 million opening. Right. It's not quite at the level of the Sonic movies right now. Or the Mario movie that just came out. But nobody was expecting those.
It was a very different kind of movie. Yeah. A much smaller audience is going to see Mortal Kombat.
Sure.
Yeah, the first two feel like, this does not feel as much of a children's film as like Mario and,
No, I mean, these are even sort of more graphic and darker, gritty films than the ones in the 90s were.
Oh.
So I would say this is not for most little kids.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how the Street Fighter movie does in comparison.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, I think that one is, I'm not going to say family friendly, but certainly more family friendly.
The extra camp, I think, makes it a bit more palatable to...
Say that one more time.
The extra camp.
Sure.
It feels, at least from what I've seen, I haven't watched either one of them, obviously, but like... just the clips I've seen and pictures and stuff, it feels bigger, campier.
Right.
Absolutely.
Mortal Kombat.
I think also, like, that film has more recognizable stars.
Definitely.
I mean, it has, all those people from the WWE, all the wrestlers and everything.
50 Cent.
Jason Momoa. Like, I mean, and not that this didn't have any stars, but, it did not have like as many recognizable names out there promoting it.
I think the only one that I immediately recognized was Carl Urban.
Right.
But I don't know if I knew anybody, at least not by seeing their face. I wasn't like, oh, that's that person.
Right. Yeah. And that's very true of the first one as well.
Carl Urban. I didn't realize he was Johnny Cage. This makes me want to go watch it.
Well, that's why he's in this one. That's why they cast an older Johnny Cage for this.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you think of Street Fighter, arguably Ken and Ryu are maybe two of the lesser known stars in that film.
Right.
Ken, Ryu, maybe just because I assume he's a Japanese actor, but.
That was kind of true of the original one from the 90s as well.
I've never seen that.
Oh, well, that had Gal and M. Bison were much bigger stars. Like Chun-Li was a bigger star.
Sure.
So, I think that will be interesting. I'm very interested in that Street Fighter film, like, because that could either be a complete disaster or it could be something very campy, tongue firmly in cheek, knowing exactly what it's doing.
I feel like its cast indicates to me that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right? You've got these WWE stars. You've got Eric Andre, the other comedian guy whose name I don't know off the top of my head. But like I feel like they're very clearly going for, we know this is silly.
They have Cody Rhodes in that.
That's the picture that I just pulled up.
They're actually doing the Gal hair with him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, whereas Jean-Claude Van Damme as Gal in the original, like, they didn't do the hair.
Yeah, really. You just have him have, like, a normal buzz cut.
Right.
The picture, I'm honestly, like, I was a huge fan of the Mortal Kombat from the 90s. Like, I was definitely one of those little kids that like played that VHS over and over and over and over.
That was for a very long time the best video game film ever made.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
And there's probably still an argument for it being the best video game film ever made.
It was so good. The only one that like, the only part of it that was like a slight hesitancy is Goro. Sometimes looked real funky, but they didn't have CGI stuff. It was like animatronic, or it was like over $1 million
stop
puppet.
motion.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yes.
It shows that film was done on a budget.
Yes, absolutely.
But like, and they've got like Ken beating up the car
Yeah,
as well in the trailer. So, like I said, I think it should. I don't know if it's gonna be a good movie, but I think it should be at least fun and silly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which, if that's what they're going for, then I think you have to call it a success.
I mean, I think my feeling about something like Street Fighter is there's no plot.
Sure.
Like the plot is there's the world fighter tournament, right? Like what do you want plot wise for this, right? You want the characters, and the characters should look like they do in the video game within reason, and you want them to like have their eccentric personalities. And like, I mean, I don't know, like every time they try to adapt that into something and they're like, well, this is really going to be about Chun-Li going on a spy mission. I'm like, what, who wants to see that? That's not why I like the game.
Right.
Like Chun-Li, you could make her into an interesting character, but like in the games, like Chun-Li is like interesting because of what she does, her like 1,000 kick move and everything. So I don't know.
When does that come out? That's in the fall?
October.
Okay.
So it took Mortal Kombat's release from last year. We'll see how that works out for them. Maybe if it works out better, then everybody will second guess Mortal Kombat, I suppose.
It also, I mean, I don't know if Mortal Kombat sort of put this date out, but I think it's a smart decision to put some distance between the two releases as well.
Yeah. There's less of a direct comparison. If this opened next weekend, everybody would be comparing them directly. Let's see. We talked about Steam launching the Steam controller last episode and that they sold out in 30 minutes. In response to that, Steam is launching a reservation queue system for the controllers going forward. So you can sign up to be added to the queue. When your name comes up, you will get contacted, and then you'll have 72 hours in which to purchase it. This is their response trying to prevent scalping of controllers going forward. It seems like a good way to do this. This is similar to what Nintendo did with the Switch 2 launch, where you could sign up, and then they were actually looking at the number of hours you had played on the Switch 1. So the more time that you had spent, the more likely you were to get chosen to buy a Switch 2 and everything. So, I guess we'll see how that works out and everything, but it seems like a good place to start with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see. Takashi Tezuka of Nintendo has announced that he's retiring at 65 years old, which is apparently the norm for Japan. Shigeru Miyamoto is a little older than that. He's 73, I believe, currently. Tezuka, if that name isn't recognizable to you, then certainly the games he has worked on over the years. He was the director for the Legend of Zelda, Super Mario World, A Link to the Past, Yoshi's Island, and most recently produced Super Mario Brothers Wonder. So, yeah, I mean, we've talked about this before. The sort of old guard of video games are, retiring or in some cases sadly dying off. Nintendo does a very good job of sort of training the next generation alongside these people. But that's a lot of years of experience and knowledge that is walking out the door. I mean, good for him. Like, we're happy he's going to retire, but it's also, kind of a sad day for video games. Let's see. Alien Fireteam Elite 2 has been announced for the release this summer. It will be adding 4-player co-op. The original only had 2-player. Slay the Spire 2 is getting review bombed. So this is, I think, pretty interesting. Slay the Spire 2 came out, widely praised. It is now getting review bombed because somebody noticed that in the credits under consultants, one of the names listed
2 months later
Yeah.
is Anita Sarkeesian. And for people listening who maybe don't recognize that name offhand, Anita Sarkeesian was a video game fan, a cultural critic. She created a series called Feminist Frequency, where she did a series of videos sort of doing a feminist critique of video games. And this was sort of like Gamergate, and that whole thing kind of blew up after this, not directly tied to Sarkeesian's videos, but she caught.
Definitely got dragged into it.
And so now people are review bombing this game, which critically and player-wise had been lauded up until this point. They are now review bombing it in response to her being part of it, not because anybody has complained about this game, but simply because her name is attached to it.
It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
That's oh my God. Like, that all was like 12 years ago at this point. And I know, like, maybe this is not the best mentality to have. Like, people don't change, but I'd like to think that people would have just, I don't even know what to say, because I think it's that ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, for those who don't know, like, her videos are very much like Feminism 101, like feminist criticism 101.
Yeah.
Like, they're not crazy, far out there ideas. It is, hey, how come in video games women wear less clothes than men? Like, and I don't mean this dismissively towards her. I just mean she was very much aiming at a primer to feminist criticism.
A general public.
Yeah.
I showed these I taught Women's 101, and I showed a couple of her videos in there to talk about it. Because, yeah, exactly, it is meant to be, an introduction. It's more posing questions and then answering them, according to very basic foundational feminist literature.
Yeah, I forget which one I showed, but when I taught that January course on games and culture, I showed one of them.
Whichever one had Miss Pac-Man in it is the one that I showed, which is pretty basic. So
Yeah. So,
so I think to what Justin was just saying, this is not a dismissive thing. Like, they're very simple, but there's something very good in their simplicity, right? And the ability to be able to, you could show this to anybody, and they will pick up on the threads that she is going for.
Well, and I think, from my perspective, I just mean, these aren't crazy out there fringe ideas. This is very...
There's nothing you watch that feels like a stretch.
Right. It's very sort of milquetoast sort of criticisms, right? This is the equivalent of watching Disney movies and saying, well, how come the princess always has to be saved?
Exactly.
That's the sort of thing she's talking about, really, in most of this.
And all of this to say, it's not like her takes are unbelievable or are don't make sense or are coming from the depths of feminazi hell to wreak havoc upon the video game world. Right. It's stuff that it is quite obvious that this business, right, has been run by a particular type of person for a long period of time. Maybe we should have more representation. Maybe, fighters should wear clothing, or armor, right?
I mean, this is in my class. I show them the Soul Calibur games and how the female characters over the history of the series wear fewer and fewer clothes, right, as the series progresses, and generally their breasts get bigger and bigger, right?
Mortal Kombat did that too up until a certain point, and then they came back around.
Yeah, and I think the whole industry has,
for sure.
And so I think this is where people get mad at her because they see that the industry has grown up, right? We've talked about it on this podcast before. we are not getting the man game anymore.
Yeah.
Right? For a lot of reasons. We're not getting it for legal reasons. But like that sort of early 2000s into like the 2010s era of just really sort of bro dumb sort of games.
Very edgy.
Well, I think you even talked about on the last episode, Mario, like the God of War franchise.
Sure.
Like the God of War franchise has really evolved.
Mm-hmm.
Like from those first 3 games to, you know, the Norse duology, I guess. Like, you know, it's not to say they've stripped away everything, but like it's a more adult take on that material, definitely.
Absolutely.
And so I think somebody might look at it and go, well, that's her fault, and I just want to see boobies in my games. But like, it is also like video games are less embarrassing now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a reason why they get taken more seriously, why you're seeing like, I think some of these adaptations, right? You know, no one is going to adapt. I can't even come up with a game off the top of my head.
Dead or Alive Extreme
Bullet
Beach
Witch.
Volleyball.
Yeah. Yeah, I had a broken Xbox that had that on it. I was like, oh, okay. Well, and it was the one that like also like took off all of the clothes. And I was like, oh, no, wait, stop. Reboot the system.
I mean, they are still there, but you don't see it as a bullet point anymore that a game has jiggle physics.
Yeah.
And that literally used to be a bullet point selling games. And like, yeah, I mean, I don't know, if you're 12, I guess maybe that's still interesting. What gets me is, as you said, Mario, this is a decade ago. If these are the same people who were mad a decade ago, like we're talking about people in their 20s, 30s, 40s now. Like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how are you still mad at
It's still proving
her
her point as far as I'm concerned. Like,
Yeah.
It's so stupid, especially because it's 2 months later and it's someone who did some digging, saw a name that pissed them off, and then are going to review bomb this game that already came like out. And I don't.
It just goes to show how like disingenuous it is.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it would be one thing if there were a bunch of female characters in this game and they were all dressed like nuns and people were like, that's really weird. Why is everybody dressed this way? And then somebody found out later that she was involved in it and they were like, oh, we're going to point a finger at her. But like, that's not even what's going on here.
No.
Like, what's going on here is they just saw her name and they hate her because somebody told them a decade ago to hate her.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, other than consultant, I have no idea what her
Exactly.
role even was,
Yeah.
or how big it was, right?
Right. Like,
So you had a conversation with her, and that's it. Like, well, she deserves credit for that conversation. That one conversation we had.
Yep.
yeah, I mean, it could be the equivalent of a special thanks to.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
we're not even 100% sure.
But that's the point. Yeah. That it's the disingenuous. I like that take on it. Yeah.
Yeah, if you've never seen her videos, go watch her videos. I think they're pretty good as an introduction. I think there's better criticism out there, better feminist criticism out there of the video game industry. But I think if you're sort of new to it all and everything, I think her videos can be really interesting and they're good for introducing some ideas and everything as part of that. You know, and like, I think they're, like with any sort of criticism, her criticism can be also critiqued and people can fairly critique it, but
Yeah.
just attacking her is not fair
Yes.
critique. It's not genuine critique.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, so I saw this story this morning. This is, as you can imagine, in here just for Mario for the most part. Cody Rhodes in an interview said that Nintendo had actually sent him a cease and desist order for the Triforce that was on his boots. This is like a decade ago that he had the Triforce on his boots. and he said that Nintendo had actually sent him a cease and desist over it. And he said, it was super nice. It wasn't like, hey, we're coming after you. It was just like, could you please stop?
Yeah, we're honored. We're honored, but don't do that, please.
And I thought that was pretty interesting, because certainly we've seen more of this, I think, in the major professional wrestling organizations, where there's more references to video games, more sort of tributes to video games, video game theme music used in some cases in entrances and that sort of thing. But in the indie wrestling scene, it is crazy with IP violation.
Well, I was going to say, I didn't know that this was from a decade ago, but I know he had a shirt when he was in AEW that was essentially just the Foxhound logo from Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting to, yeah, I mean, like, it's understandable. It's like, these are just people who are fans of a thing and they want to incorporate that thing as well. That said, Nintendo has every right to be like, hey, please don't do this. This one, to me, the Foxhound shirt is not like they sold that. I mean, I know you can copyright a wolf with a knife in its mouth.
But it's not the exact thing, right?
Sure,
so it's almost a parody
it's
of
an
it.
homage or something.
Yeah. Whereas the Triforce was
Just
literally
straight up the Triforce.
Yeah, the logo. So, yeah. Anyways, kind of interesting, and kind of explains why Cody Rhodes probably jumped at the chance to be in a Street Fighter movie.
Sure.
Like, if you're a professional fighter and somebody comes to you and says, would you want to be in a Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter film? You probably jump at that chance.
Sure.
Not if they ask you to be in the Dead or Alive film. You should probably turn down that opportunity.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke, but I will not make a joke.
No. Now we want to know.
But maybe the beach volleyball part of the
I don't know. I don't know if I want to see Cody Rhodes in a bikini, Mario. Anyways, so that does it for our news. Now we will go to what we've been playing, as was my original plan the entire time.
Of course.
Yeah. So, Christina, what have you been playing?
Well, basically, with the end of the semester, it helps a lot to play the games that, like, help my brain organize. And so a couple of the ones that I've been watching / like kind of playing are, first of all, Lost But Found, which I think is a couple years old. It's one that, like, you work at an airport with the lost and found, and people come to you and are like, hey, I lost this thing, and you give it to them. And it's a wide variety of things. You also have to, I don't know, you collect stickers that are on water bottles and suitcases and stuff. And try to make sure you don't go in the red and things like that. This guy keeps coming up to you to steal your money because people leave you tips, and so you have to spray him with
lava.
Well, I wish it was lava.
Acid.
What,
Are you the Joker?
No,
Do
no,
you
no.
have a fire on your lapel?
What is the little can that
Mace?
Mace. Yeah, I don't know. I was just like that doesn't help anybody.
There's like a cat, and you just spray it with a water bottle out of that.
Honestly, if that would work, that would also.
Are you working the Calvin Klein counter at the department store and spraying
just
them?
spritz people as they walk by. No. And so
that would be a fun game.
I think so too. Especially, I just would spray all the ladies to make them upset. I think that would be a fun game. But yeah, it's just basically one of those sort of. What I really like about it is they have they have a chill mode, a relax mode, normal, and then mayhem. And so it's really nice that they have one that it's just you being as slow as you possibly want, taking all of your time. I don't even think the guy that comes to steal your money is even there. You don't get any penalties for not taking the stuff off the conveyor belt on time. Like, it's super, super chill. All the way up to mayhem, which hurts my heart. I don't play on that level. And so, like, it really kind of takes the like chill game up another level.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is the quantifiable difference between chill and relax?
That's a great question. I was actually trying to think that. I don't know because I watched.
You know the
Chill
difference.
and normal.
Chill, you've been smoking something.
Right. Those are
That's the sole difference.
I mean, difference between you being relaxed and you being chill. What's the difference?
I was thinking about for the game.
So chill apparently has the no timers. That's the one that I watched. Relax just has fewer items, so it doesn't. It's not as fast paced. Normal, it's a relaxed, what they call average paced, and then mayhem is just super fast paced.
There's no timer because you're high off a doobie and everything's moving in super slow motion.
Exactly. That was not the case when I was playing it, although now I have a weekend plan. But yeah, so that was the difference between those two. So it's like chill is absolutely you just do what you want. You hi baby.
Fuck the police.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which there is one. There's a security officer and you can just tell him to F off. So there's that game. It was fun. The one that I'm surprised that I liked it so much because when I first started playing it, it was like very overwhelming, is one called Librarian, Tidy Up the Arcane Library. And it starts you off in this room with 3,000 books or 3,000 plus books just scattered everywhere. And you have to collect the books. You can only hold 10 in your hand at a time. You have to collect them and then put them away in the shelving units. And like I said, it feels very overwhelming at first, but as you complete rows of books, so like a row of books would be like the same book, but like 10 volumes of that book. Once you complete a row, you get, you have a point that you can spend to get like little perks. So like one of the perks, if you pick up a book and you push the button, it highlights or it makes the books glow wherever they are all over the library. So, and it only does it the first time. It's only for like 7 seconds. And so you can at least see where all the books are. Another perk makes it to where you pick up a book, you push the button, and all of a sudden a book flies to you, like from wherever, and the more you update that perk, at some point you pick up a book, push the button, and all other books fly to you, kind of thing.
So is this like a puzzle game?
It's kind of puzzly organization, put things in its place.
So, we know you have ADHD.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
There you go. You like to make spreadsheets, don't you?
Yeah. It feels very much like in a different font, obviously, that game that I like where it's like it gives you all of the utensils in the drawer and it's like put these things away where they go.
Yeah.
Do I do that in my real life? Absolutely not. But like, would I go in this room? No, I would sit there and cry on top of a pile of books if someone made me do this. But for whatever reason, you put it in a video game and it's fine. You also can find there's like 4 little chests in the room, and as you are picking up books, you find these keys to open them. And different ones give you things. Like 2 of them. One of them's like permission from the librarian to run. And so and so you get to run around. And so especially if you have that perk where the books glow, you can get to them faster.
Right.
One of them is like permission to super jump. So there's 2 levels of
stacks.
Of floors of bookshelves. And so if you get the super jump, you're able to jump from floor 1 all the way to floor 2 and not have to go around and use the stairs and stuff like that. And so the game gets progressively easier as you do more and more. But the first,
as you upgrade your abilities.
Yes. Yeah. And it becomes more fun the more things you unlock and stuff like that. But the first, I don't know, 15 to 30 minutes of it was just like, why? And then as you see, okay, it'll get a lot easier if I can just do this. You stick with it. But Yeah, it was. I really enjoyed it. Know that if you're frustrated at the beginning of it, that feels a little normal. That feels
It's sort of a roguelike in that
yes,
you're building up your abilities over
yes,
time. Yeah.
exactly.
Well, let me ask you a question. If somebody comes in with a substantially overdue book, do you battle them, or can Shelby play this game?
Shelby would love this game because you do not have to deal with any of the people that would come into the library. There's another game that I watched that was like a those simulator games. I watched somebody that opened a VHS store.
Yes.
And some people would come in and it was late
I've seen that
or
game.
broken. That one actually was kind of fun too. I didn't play that one though.
I haven't played it either.
But this one you don't deal with anybody. And so yeah, it's nice. Like I said, it's a good end of semester. I need to put away my thoughts like I put away the books in the shelves. So
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that second one I've never heard of. That Librarian game, I've never heard of that.
I want to say it's new-ish.
I just looked it up. It came out at the end of April.
Oh, okay. That would make sense then.
Yeah.
Cool, neat. Is that everything?
Yep.
All right, Mario?
Yeah, so I've played two things. I think I had previewed last week that I've been playing Metal Gear Solid 3, which I beat over the weekend. I think Metal Gear Solid games, any given instance of a Metal Gear Solid game is either the greatest thing you've ever experienced in gaming or massive rage bait from Kojima, because it's just pure nonsense. And I think Metal Gear Solid, for the most part, is the first category. But I'm just like, you cooked a little too much with this idea here. But
do you mean like the game in total, or are you talking about specific like mechanics?
I just mean specific mechanics of,
Because I think you could lay that criticism on him on
any one of his games.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's one of those things that I guess I put it this way. I really admire the attempts that he makes with like really doing weird stuff, just like change your controller from port 1 to port 2, or, do this other thing, turn off the game, and turn it back on or whatever.
Reading your memory card.
Yeah. I mean, like, I think that's
breaking the fourth wall sort of thing.
I think stuff like that is really cool, but there are certain things where, I try to get into his mind and figure like, okay, Kojima, what nonsense do you want me to do to figure out this puzzle? And then I, lose my save because I did the wrong thing. And so, like I said, I do really greatly admire the Metal Gear Solid games and what he tries to do with them. I think that they are a fascinating franchise to really delve into in terms of like what games can do.
Right.
I will say, because we had talked about it, I don't think the version that I played is Subsistence, but I think that this HD remaster, whatever that was on the PS3 collection, I think it takes what Subsistence added to that game, because I know one of the big things is a change in the camera, and the HD version has that third-person camera rather than just like all the fixed angles, which is definitely nice.
Yeah. I think what I've always admired about him is I feel like he's somebody who's treating video games as truly an art form. Like he wants to play around and experiment with it in the same way that, in the same sort of mindset as Miyamoto, but in a very different approach, right? Like where Miyamoto is always like, well, I don't want to just make another Mario game. How can we like sort of, play with this formula in some interesting way? And I feel like Kojima, across all of his games, but maybe, certainly most publicly visible in the Metal Gear games, always felt like he was like, hey, I want to screw with this. I want to like sort of subvert your expectations and just try to do something different and interesting with this. And like sometimes that works, sometimes it's just annoying.
Yeah.
But I always think it's like really interesting.
Yeah, and I think one of the big differences between the two of them is Kojima, it seems like his intention with that is as a way to tell a story.
Yeah.
Right? Like he's very much interested in like the storytelling aspect. And so it's like, I'm going to do these weird things that ultimately funnel back into how I'm telling this story. Yeah. Whereas you look at like the Mario games, the story is not really anything.
I was just thinking the Star Fox games, the fact that they keep telling the same story over and over again, and it feels like they're not trying. They keep hearing that we want more, and they're like, okay, and they're like, no, more but different. And so
I think they hear that and they've tried and they keep failing, and so like we talked about this last episode, the new remake is just, all right, damn it, here we're giving you exactly what you want, just a remake of 64.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No. I'm trying to think of where I was going with that.
Storytelling aspect. He's doing different things.
Oh, anyways, I think the other thing that I really appreciate about the Metal Gear Solid games, and maybe this one in particular, it's been years now since I've played 1 and 2. The stealth in those games is not punishing. Where I feel like a lot of stealth sections in games, it's like, if you get caught, that's it, and we're throwing you back in jail. Whereas in the Metal Gear games, it's like, okay, the alert's going off. Go find a place to hide, I guess, and let the timer run out. But there's rarely you're losing progress or having to start a whole thing over. Does that happen? Sure. I mean, like if you die or whatever. But like this game even gives you the fake death pill where like the timer's going off, you take the pill, all the guards think you're dead. You take a revival pill, and then you can just get back up with like the alert gone. Right. And so like they really make it as accessible and as like, this is a stealth game and we want you should play it. Like you do have to do some amount of stealth, but like we're not going to be like punishing with how precise it's going to be.
Right. It's not Splinter Cell.
Sure.
Right. Like I still remember playing the original Splinter Cell, and like that game's amazing, but that game is incredibly frustrating because like there's no forgiveness in it, right? Like you have to do everything right.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's why the Metal Gear games are much more accessible, right, to most people.
Like I think that happened one time in this game. It's towards the end of the game. You have to plant this like these explosives on these tanks or whatever, and freaking the eagle eye scientist, like, bro, you're this far away from me, looking at me through a damn staircase. And it's one of those things where it's like the mission had failed because I was seen planting. I was like, okay, that's a completely different thing that has not happened at any other point in this game. But even so, like because of all these other aspects and in many ways the other ways in which it's forgiving, it's still frustrating and annoying when you get caught and you have to like really like divert what you're doing. But I do think that's for all the people that have tried to make stealth games since,
right,
maybe they did not take maybe the most appropriate lesson of like, yes, be stealthy, but also give people a chance to re-stealth rather than just like instant failure.
Yeah, I think it's one of the things you look at the modern Hitman games, the world of assassination games, right, is that there is some forgiveness built into those games versus the earlier Hitman games.
Yeah.
And then also that the sandbox world of those games, even when you do screw up the stealth, like you can play through the level in a different way. Like, right, it's not an instant failure. It's just, you're going to have to go more combat focused now. You're going to have to run more and hide more and everything instead of sneaking.
Oh yeah, there were definitely sections playing MGS3 was like, all right, so just pull out the machine gun and we're having a firefight, brother, because this is what it's going to have to be now.
Which is true to the original Metal Gear on the NES.
Sure.
Like, I mean, that game, you had to be stealthy, but if you messed up, you could often still recover.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like it's a great game. It's pretty widely available now. I know that a lot of those games were just kind of like trapped on the PlayStation 3, but I think 3 is available on Steam and GOG and all that now.
Plus, they have that remake of
sure.
Delta.
Yeah, they literally just remade it last year, which I would definitely be interested in checking out. I don't know if I want to spend $70 on it, but I would be interested in checking it out. I think the thing that I took most from this game that I think is interesting, so like I said, this is number 3, but it's the first, like in the chronological story.
Right.
And it was like after playing it, and so I've only played 1, 2, and 3, but it definitely made me want to not like change gears, but like I would love to play through them in like a chronological story order rather
Sure.
than just I mean, like, I know that the story is pretty inscrutable, but that
Maybe
said,
second only to Kingdom Hearts.
but I did enjoy my time with it for sure. So that's what I played. The other thing that I played last night was Resident Evil Gaiden, which is a Game Boy Color game. Apparently, people hate that game based off of how people talk about it online.
It is not well loved in that franchise.
I thought that game was pretty cool. Granted, it's the only Resident Evil game I've ever played, but
Oh, that's why.
but
Oh, wow. That's kind of shocking.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't.
You
think,
should rectify that.
Well, yes, I've got plans. That's something I'm planning on playing some of the others later this year. But I do. I think that game is pretty cool. I think the way that combat works in like the bar going across the screen and like the rhythm-based combat,
Yeah.
I think is interesting. I mean, the story is Resident Evil. Like, it doesn't really matter.
Is that the one that looks sort of like a JRPG?
In combat?
Well, I was just thinking like the overhead as you're moving through the
think
levels and
so.
everything.
Sure. It's like a top-down
Okay.
look. And you're on this like cruise ship and have to figure out whatever. But yeah, like I said, I thought that game was pretty cool. I'm not going to say it's the greatest game I've ever played. It definitely has its flaws, but I was surprised to see that game is as reviled as it is in that community.
Yeah. It's primarily because it was such a departure in a way that I think people felt took away from some of the original games. So it makes sense that you're like, oh, this. I think a standalone game, it makes sense that you're like, oh, this is not bad.
It's one of those games that, to me, I feel like if people went back and played today, maybe people would be kinder.
Yeah, that
to
makes
it.
sense.
Because I think it's also incredibly unfair to think that a Game Boy Color game could do anything that the PlayStation could do.
For sure.
Well, and I think part of the problem was they actually made a port of the original Resident Evil, the PlayStation game, for the Game Boy Color. Have you ever seen that?
Mm-mm.
So it never got released.
Mm.
They canceled it, but it looks remarkably like good.
Mm.
And I think that it's actually leaked out. I think you can play it, maybe not to completion, but it has leaked out and everything. And I think part of it was that game got canceled, this game got released, and people were bitter about that. And that probably says a lot of why people had such a negative reaction too.
I mean, I could definitely see that being the case, but like I said, I think that this game deserves a reevaluation. Again, I'm not going to say 5 stars, but definitely not the disdain that it seems like people have for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was trying to find a screenshot of that.
The original.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
That does look pretty cool.
I mean, when you put it into context that like it's on a Game Boy Color,
Yes.
right? Like
Yes.
it looks remarkably faithful to
Sure.
the PlayStation game. Yeah, no, I've never played that. I've seen Gaiden, so I'll take your word on it because like I've never played it, but it looks. I always thought it looked interesting just because it was different.
Yeah, I think that's what I appreciate about it so much is that it is doing something different.
Yeah.
Um,
Isn't it Revelations that is also set on a boat? It's one of those side games. It's Barry, I think.
Barry is who you play as in
Yes.
this game.
So is Revelations a remake of Gaiden? Are they connected in some way?
I'm not 100% sure on that one.
Yeah,
That
I'm not
feels-
up on my Resident Evil
That feels
lore.
like, honestly, who is? Like, there's a video, I found a video online that goes through it, and it's like almost 2 hours long, going
Okay.
through the entire lore.
Yeah.
It's
Okay, I don't think it's
Ridiculous.
Revelations.
Is it Revelations 2? There's one of those side games anyway where you're like on a ship. You're on a cruise boat or a ship of some kind.
Okay, Revelations 2 features Barry Burton. The first time in a main series.
Okay.
I don't know if it's on a boat as well, but it is Revelations 2 is probably the one that you're thinking of.
Okay. Yeah. So that tells you how much I know about those games. I knew I haven't played like almost any of those side Resident Evil games.
yeah.
So
I have not enjoyed any of them.
I guess I shouldn't say it's the first one. I played a good amount of 7 with my cousin.
Oh,
But
yeah.
that was me going over to his house one evening and playing it. It wasn't like I have not sat and played it on my own.
they're good games. Like going back and playing the original and playing 4, I think is entirely worthwhile.
Absolutely.
I've always heard that was a 2001 remake of the original, or the one they put on the
The
GameCube.
HD.
Yeah, is really good. And I those are the two that I those are the two that I owned for the longest time, was the remake of 1 on the GameCube and 4 on the GameCube.
Yeah.
And since I've gotten like the 2 and 3 remakes because they've been so cheap, but yeah.
Yeah, that 2 remake is fantastic, and they have like made that a substantially better game, I think, to play today. But 4 was like such an influential game.
I think
Yes.
you talk about a departure as well, right?
Right. I mean, it was, but like that game, like every game that came after that,
Sure.
right, copied the like sort of third person mechanics of that game. And like that remake they did of it a few years ago is fantastic as well. Capcom's been doing fantastic, like just great work with those remakes.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of the best in the business right now with that sort of stuff.
I think that's about it.
All right, cool. I have been buried in grading. I will say I'm done with all my grading. I have not entered my grades, but I am done with actual grading.
Nice.
And so the only thing I have played is something that we talked about last Thursday. I had just started, which is Mixtape. So I've played through Mixtape. This is the new game that has a sort of Life is Strange sort of vibe to it and everything. It's an adventure game where it's the story of 3 teenagers on their last night together before they're going to split up and go their separate ways after high school. And sort of as you're going through the story, you're interacting with different things that are triggering memories. And so you're doing these flashbacks. So like really the night is a framing device for all these flashbacks that you have.
Cool.
And then all of this is set to this soundtrack, which is just amazing. Like just a fantastic soundtrack that they've put together for this. And so like, one of the main characters that you're playing, Stacy, she wants to be a music producer. And so she has set up this soundtrack for the last night, has created a mixtape for their last night together. And so everything that happens is triggering one of these songs. Like it's some very mainstream stuff mixed in with some very obscure stuff. I think the other day I said it's like high fidelity. Like you have these music snobs who are sitting around talking about why this band sucks and why this band is amazing, why Devo is amazing. And so it's a lot of that set in the 90s. It is, some people have accused it of being nostalgia porn. I think that's to some degree a fair criticism, but it doesn't just rely on the nostalgia, because I think if you were going to do that, it would be much easier to make this and be like, here's Nirvana, here's this band, and it really like is playing around with a lot of different stuff that isn't as mainstream and everything. It does have Stan Bush's The Touch from the Transformers movie in here, and it's like one of the best moments in the entire game when that song kicks in. Like this game is hard to talk about because I don't want to talk about what you're actually doing, but there are like sort of vignettes that it triggers where you're playing different gameplay styles.
Have you finished this?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I don't want to bring up specific moments because I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll ask you about it after the show.
But
now, just sorry to cut you off again. Just of like certain criticisms that I've seen of the game.
I think, I think. So, okay, here's my sort of encapsulated review of this game without trying to spoil too much. This is a vibe-driven game. This game is all about the vibes. How do you feel while you're playing this game? And is it triggering the right vibes in you while you're playing it? And there are moments in this game that are meant to be sort of upsetting when you're playing them. There are ones that are meant to be enthralling. There are moments that are meant to be sort of awe-inspiring. There are moments that are meant to be sort of, like raising your pulse, sort of scary, I suppose, while you're doing it. And is it actually hitting that, right? Because it's really a string of mini games that you're playing. You're skateboarding, you're riding a shopping cart, this is in the trailer, you're TPing a house and all of this. And is that combination of where the story is, where this music is hitting, and the gameplay mechanics, is all of that working in concert to give you the right vibe at that moment? And I would say that if you took a lot of these games outside of all the rest of that context, you would go, oh, well, these are they're not bad mini games, but they're not in-depth mini games. Mm-hmm. And so I could see somebody who comes to this saying, this doesn't have the gameplay depth that I'm looking for.
So I think I can talk about this a little bit with that one. There's one section of the game where it appears as though it's a bunch of QTEs. Mm-hmm. But there's no real fail state. So like if you do not hit them, the thing just continues to. So like the game kind of just plays itself there, and that for this person, and I don't even know if it's necessarily fair. I have not played the game yet myself. It's also, I think, always a little unfair to pull one moment fully out of context.
Right.
But I thought it was interesting to like, there's. You can't really lose here. It just happens.
Yeah, and there are moments like that. There's a moment, again, I won't spoil, but there is a moment where essentially you could watch it and go, oh, I don't have control here. Mm. Until like maybe at the bottom it will usually pop up and say, here are the controls for this section. Mm-hmm. And I think you could really go, I don't have any control, because to some degree you don't. And it's kind of following a fixed path, but like you can kind of move your character around within that fixed path. Mm-hmm. And there are achievements you can unlock.
Sure.
And you are interacting with the world. Mm-hmm. And so, there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the game where, it's almost QTE, quick time event sort of sections. But like, in the context of the story, in the context of the music and everything, like you are vibing in that moment. Like the Stan Bush moment feels like the simplest mini game if you strip it out of everything else. But in that moment, like I sort of cheered. There's a moment the characters cheer and I cheered with them because it like excited me. And it was like, this is cool. This is like, you did the thing. You did the thing that like, you took the cheesy 80s song and you made it matter, and it matters like in what I'm doing with the gameplay, but it also matters in this moment in their lives and what this moment is saying about the character. And then that pays off later in the story with what happens to one of the characters. And you're like, it's so difficult to like pull those out separately, right?
Especially if you're describing it as this like vibes-based game, right?
Yeah.
Like if I provide you with none of the context, you can make any section in any game look pretty bad.
And the reason I explain it that way is because I think this game will absolutely not work for some people.
Sure.
I think it's exactly the sort of game that some people come to and they're going to say, what have they done to video games? This is Anita Sarkeesian's fault.
That's why I'm like hesitant to lean too far into this criticism that I saw online of it, because it kind of felt like that's exactly what it was.
And I think, and I guess what I would say about that is I think that's a fair criticism.
Sure.
Not the Anita Sarkeesian part, but I think it's fair to say, I don't get this. Like, I want more gameplay in my game. Like, this is, you know, to some degree, almost a walking simulator type game. Like, you know, there are very strong sort of gone home vibes at times in this game. But man, when it works, and it works so often. And, you know, I think one of the other criticisms I've seen is people say, I hate these characters. Like, I hate who these people are.
Yeah.
And my reaction to that is, okay, yeah, I can completely get that. You know, I saw somebody say, well, like, this game works a whole lot if you were these people in high school. And I would say I wasn't these people, but I knew these people. And part of the obnoxiousness of these characters is part of what is charming about them. Like being 17 and trying to be the biggest music snob in the world. And like that sort of, the game is keenly aware of your flaws as a human being. Like I would say this is not a game made by 17-year-olds about how much smarter they are about music than everyone around them. This is a game made by adults looking back at being 17 and saying, look at what idiots we were, but also look at this was the best moment.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of a thing that, like, I know I will have to do myself when watching certain things that, like, feature teenagers. You're like, oh, my God, these people suck. And it's like, they're teenagers.
Yeah,
they're selfish, and they think they know everything. That's okay. That's just how teenagers are.
What is the meme?
I'm sure that's how I was as well.
What is the meme that's like me watching The Little Mermaid when I was a child? Like when she's like, I'm 16 years old. I'm not a child. Me watching The Little Mermaid now. Bitch, yes, you are.
Well, it's the thing, like you watch movies you liked as a kid and you're like, I agree with the parents now.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Like I have become old.
Just kill me. Now I'm done.
And like when I say that, I don't say that as like, I think these characters are incredibly endearing. I think they paint them really well. I think this is also a game, if you are not paying attention, you are missing so much of what's going on in this game. Like this game does the thing of, oh, these two characters exchanged a glance. And it's not really subtle, but like if you're the way a lot of people play games, laid back on a couch, or you're streaming this and you're looking over at chat, like you're missing so much of the context of what's going on. And, you know, looking at the Steam achievements, you know, it will tell you like, oh, 20% of people got this achievement. And sometimes some of the achievements I got that have come back like, oh, you're, you know, only 20% of people who have played this have gotten this achievement. I'm looking at them going, you were not spending the time you should have spent in this part of the game. Like the game is really asking you to sit here and play around for a while. And like part of the experience is that, you know, playing around. And again, I don't want to spoil it because so much of it is that discovery and like the first time you experience it and going, oh, well, this is really, oh, they're going to let me play here. They're going to give me control and I get to do this thing. And it starts off really simplistic. And then as you start playing around with it, you go, oh, there's actually a lot hidden here that I can do in this section. There's a lot more, kind of play around with it. And
Life is Strange is a lot like that as well, right? Like walking around the apartment and like seeing all of the things and looking at all the things. I think the other thing, and I don't even know if you could call this a criticism because this isn't just this game. There are many other games, but I wouldn't be surprised if this game also elicits a lot of discourse around what is an indie game. The same way Claire Obscure was, in the sense of like, this is a game that probably had a multi-million-dollar budget. This is your classic AA game. And when you compare it to something like Balatro,
right,
how do you can't really have a real conversation there.
I mean, this is put out by Annapurna.
Exactly, yeah.
Annapurna is the Ellisons, if you don't know. And this is the daughter who runs Annapurna. And they have spent, they have spent a ton of money on the soundtrack.
Yeah.
And, they are getting some big name acts as part of this, and they're getting some really obscure acts as part of this, but they spent a lot of money on the soundtrack for this game. I know there's no streamer mode in this game, and people have criticized it, and they did put out a statement. They were like, hey, look, like building a streamer mode into this game would ruin the effect.
Yeah.
Like the music is a significant part of this game. Like you can't divorce it from that. And I mean, they're absolutely right about that. Like if you tried to swap in, sound alikes or something, it wouldn't have the same impact. This game is fantastic. This is going to be like, if you haven't seen the reviews, this game is getting 9s and 10s almost everywhere. This is going to be on all sorts of Game of the Year lists at the end of the year. This is one of those games I would tell people you should experience this.
What do you play this on again? Sorry.
I'm playing it on Steam, on PC.
Okay.
It is like $20. It's about a 4-hour game. So like just keep that in mind. If you want to wait for a sale, like, it'll be discounted at some point. But like when it works extraordinarily well. And I would say more often than not, the moments like hit me, and I'm not somebody, I wasn't this person in high school, and I'm not the hipster person now. I've never really been that type of person who's like, oh, like I'm into this band, but you wouldn't know them, right? Like I don't do that.
Justin only does that with video games like Master Blaster.
Yeah.
Yes, Master Blaster, the obscure Master Blaster.
Nobody alive knows that game.
No, I do that with Commodore 64 games that nobody's heard of. But yeah, I mean, like, I think it's an experience worth having. And it's also the sort of experience I would recommend to people who don't normally play games. I think it's accessible in that way, in the way something like Life is Strange is, where, a lot of people I know who aren't super into video games play those games.
Sure.
And I think this is very much the same way. I think it is entirely a journey people should take. I think if you're our age and you were alive in the 90s, you'll get more out of the experience. But I will say this is not a member berries sort of experience. It's not constantly every 5 minutes going, hey, remember this, remember this. Like it is just, that is the setting because that is the time period they want to tell a story about. So I think actually the nostalgia bait sort of argument is kind of a cheap shot.
Sure.
Like, I don't think this game is really playing into that particularly heavy. I would also say the gameplay segments often have things in them that if you're not exploring, you're going to miss. And so I would encourage anybody who plays this to like see that thing over there, go see if you can interact with that, because in a lot of cases you probably can, and it'll be like a more fun experience playing it that way. But yeah, Mixtape, super, super high recommendation. People should play that game. Super cool. All right, that does it. So let's move on finally to our big question. And this is our last episode before we go on hiatus, we thought we'd do kind of a big question. And we thought we would rank the 5 best Nintendo 64 games. So this is our take on what are the best Nintendo 64 games. If you were going to, go buy Nintendo 64 or, download an emulator or buy one of those FPGA systems that's just been released. There's like 2 different ones of those. What are the games that you should definitely play if you've never played N64 before? So what are your thoughts?
Well, I have 19.
19. We need 5.
I know.
Nailed that number with 18 before I told you to put
I thought
Pokemon Snap on
that's
there.
why I was sitting here counting them, because I was like, it felt like 18, and I was like, whoa. We did talk prior to this about, trying to maybe shorten it to like 1 per franchise.
Sure.
Because some immediates are going to be things like Zelda.
So I know we're making this as a collective list.
Yes.
Right.
Can I hear what your individual lists would be?
Yeah.
Well, why don't you start, Mario?
Oh, okay. Well, I think in no particular order, I'd probably go Ocarina, Super Mario 64. Those are definitely my top 2. I'd probably have Pokemon Snap on there. Perfect Dark. I think I would have.
That's one I didn't have, but I thought about it. Yeah.
I don't know what the 5th one would be. I have to think about the 5th one.
Good. That gives me 20 on here.
I don't know that these aren't in order, but I would probably go Ocarina, Mario 64, probably Rogue Squadron. I might do Wave Race.
Oh, Wave Race. Yeah.
And then it would probably be GoldenEye Perfect Dark or WCW NWO Revenge. And,
Over No Mercy.
well,
You're a WCW person.
Yeah, at that time. And also, I owned Revenge. I never owned No Mercy. And so really that game is on this list almost entirely out of like nostalgia.
Yeah.
I think that's totally fine.
I played that game an awful lot in college with friends.
Yeah, mine would be Ocarina, Banjo-Kazooie, Mario 64, probably Super Smash Bros., and Star Fox. With runners-up being things like Mario Kart, Mario Party. I played a lot with my sister, and so you can tell by like some of the ones that I really remember. Mario Tennis was a good one.
Yeah, that's the one that introduced Waluigi.
It's true.
That game should not be on this list for that reason alone.
What? That makes it like straight to the top. What do you say? We also talked about some like other like more obscure things, like Tetrasphere was one that I played quite a bit, just because it was certainly one of those that like kind of reimagined what Tetris could be in a really cool way.
Sure.
Honestly, there was a Pokemon game too that came out that was trying to remake Tetris Attack.
Puzzle League.
Yes, Puzzle League. That was good. I didn't put it on here because to me it's just the remake of, which honestly Tetris Attack is a remake of like a Japanese game. So yeah, I didn't put it on there for that.
Yeah, the only ones that haven't been mentioned so far that I had written down here were Diddy Kong Racing.
I wrote Diddy. Yep.
I had that. To me, that goes ahead of Mario Kart.
That's fair.
F-Zero X and Rayman 2.
Yeah. I also have MK Trilogy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can see that one. All right. All three of us mentioned Ocarina and Mario 64, so I feel like those two are probably going to be on here. So we're really fighting for those last 3 spots.
I'll tell you what's not going to be on this list. Monster Truck Madness 64. Alongside our top 5, can we do like the 4 horsemen of the Nintendo 64 apocalypse?
You want some Quest 64 on there?
Oh.
I think Quest 64 is not bad enough to be on that list.
I think we should wait and do that on a different list.
Yeah, let me, because I'm simmering on that.
I think you have more experience with the dredges of N64 than we do.
I do. I'm also a racing game hater, so I would put games that are probably like on most people's top 10s in my bottom half of the list.
Hence your hatred of Beetle Adventure Racing, which
that game's not good. So
My hatred's also because it sucks.
that game's fantastic. Okay, so we have Ocarina of Mario 64. Like, what do we think also ends up on here? I mean, if I'm being honest, Rayman 2 is not going to end up on here. So I can go ahead and mark that one off.
Do we want to look at one of the Pokemon games, either Stadium 1 and 2 or Snap?
personally, I would say Snap. I think Snap is the most interesting of those 3 games. I think that the concept of like you being in this like wilderness park and taking pictures is a really cool idea. That would be I like that game more than the other 2 personally.
Well, it was another one that like even if you weren't a Pokemon fan, like it was something you could do.
Yeah, I mean, I think Snap is the more interesting of those 3 games.
So I think that's a contender at least. I think either Perfect Dark or 007 should probably be on my list.
I would probably personally pick Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
I'd be fine if people feel more strongly about GoldenEye or Twine. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. The world is not enough. The game might be better than GoldenEye is. I understand people got your nostalgia for your multiplayer.
I do not.
I mean, I think both of those games, like the reason people have like so much love, and even at the time, and is the multiplayer of those games. Like, and it's difficult again, right? Like, yes, on PC, Quake and stuff were already an issue, but like on N64 at that time, there hadn't been first-person shooters, or on any console, there hadn't been a really good multiplayer first-person shooter, and GoldenEye set that. Perfect Dark's just for the most part, is just a better version of that. And so I would be okay with taking Perfect Dark over GoldenEye, even if I tend to like GoldenEye a little better for personal reasons. But I could be okay with that.
An argument for Diddy Kong could also be, like, I think one of the racing games, Diddy Kong has done what not a lot of racing games outside of Mario Kart could do, which was replicate Mario Kart in a way that was pretty successful, and then also had like I thought the adventure part of it was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people would say that's the best racing game on the N64.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you're absolutely right. They replicated. They made a kart racer that was as good as Mario Kart, and yeah, I think Mario, you're right. Most people would argue it's better. Yeah, I would make that argument.
At least than 64.
Yeah. Yes. Like, I like it better than Mario Kart 64.
It's hard to compare it to something like Cruisin'. Those are doing different things, but
which is on my list of things I played a lot, but I didn't mention it because it's embarrassing.
No, like, I mean, those are fun arcade games.
Yeah.
I don't think they have the depth quite as some of those others.
And like, for me personally, I would take F-Zero over Mario Kart 64 as well.
I would too. Like, I think F-Zero is my favorite racing game on the Nintendo 64.
Yeah.
I don't know if we would take it over Diddy Kong or not.
I've never played Diddy Kong Racing. That's not one that I've gotten to, so I can't really speak on that. I know how much people love it though, so wouldn't fight putting it on the list.
I liked it because it like that, and Super Smash Bros was like a moment of like seeing a lot of different Nintendo characters in one
sure.
space. And yeah, Diddy Kong was more focused on like more characters from that realm as opposed to anything else, but I don't know. It was cool to see that.
I think my problem, I think at the time, Super Smash Brothers was one of the best games on this system. Mm-hmm. I guess the only criticism I would lay against it is I would still go back and play Ocarina today.
Yeah.
I would probably not go back and play Smash Brothers. Okay. I would play Melee or Ultimate, one of the more modern ones, in place of it.
I think that's how most people would probably talk about like Mario Kart as well.
Sure. Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I think the other ones that I don't think anybody said is any of the Mario parties.
Yeah, that's another good one.
But I'm also okay if we don't want to put like 4 Mario games on our top 5.
No, I mean, I think if that's the best games,
sure.
Like the best games on the Nintendo 64 tended to be first party games, and those tended to have Mario in them.
And I think because of the way that N64 really changed platformers, or you know what I'm saying, or like what would have traditionally been platformers, like Banjo-Kazooie comes up a lot as one of those games that is just great, just because it modeled a lot of like what a platformer could be.
Well, it was the game on that platform that actually felt like it was on the same level as Mario 64.
Yeah, for sure.
Like it could be held in comparison. Like so many of the 3D platformers on that system just didn't feel like they were in the same space.
Agreed.
I would say Rayman 2 like also kind of falls into there, but I think Banjo-Kazooie is a more robust game than Rayman 2. So like I understand taking it over that.
That's what I was going to say. Banjo, either of them is another, like I have not played those games. So like I default to Donkey Kong 64, but I think most people would say that Banjo is just a better game.
It really is. Donkey was a bit too long and tried to do, I think,
not a billion collectibles.
Yeah.
Right. It is. Banjo is headed down that road of what eventually becomes Donkey Kong 64, and Donkey Kong 64 is we went too far.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the problem with Banjo, right? Is like beating that game is essentially 100%ing that game.
Yeah.
I think it's something like any percent is something like 97%. You have to get like basically all of the collectibles in that game.
It depends. If you want to do a like cheatless or
well, sure. I mean, that's what
do
most people are going to be doing on a first playthrough.
Yeah, for sure.
I guess the other racing game here is Wave Race,
which I have a nostalgic love for, but I don't know if it's a top 5.
Here would be my argument for it, and I think there are 3 great racing games here: F-Zero, Diddy Kong, and Wave Race. I would say with Wave Race, it is still the best. Is still the best one of those games to model water physics.
That's fair.
Like, I still feel like its water physics are even better than the GameCube version, Blue Storm. And so, like, when I go back and I play that game today, I'm still like, man, why don't they take this game? Like, more than Star Fox, this is the game they should go back and just update the graphics to, because this game still feels like the physics in it feel like unlike anything else that's come after it.
Yeah.
I don't love Wave Race, but it is very impressive. Like, because it feels like you are driving, or whatever the right word is, these sea buggy do things on the water. Jet ski, thank you. On the water.
Sea buggy.
Sea buggy, sea do.
Sea buggy may be the name for this episode.
Yeah.
No, I think that, like I said, I don't love that game, but I do think that game is really impressive. And I think you're right in the sense of, it feels like you are on the water, the way that your jet ski maneuvers.
That being said, it is not as robust of a package as those other 2 games.
Yeah.
Right.
I would be okay with F-Zero or Diddy, to be honest. But I think a racing game should be on the list.
So how do we feel? Diddy or F-Zero?
I only have experience with F-Zero. So
I've watched F-Zero. I've played Diddy Kong. So I'm in the same boat. You've played both, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you
I mean, I'm partial to F-Zero, but I would be fine with Diddy Kong. Like, I think they're both really great racing games and very different styles. So it's a little difficult to compare them directly. I would say that F-Zero, that 60 frames per second on the N64 felt like out of control fast at the time. And so, there's a certain appeal to that.
Yeah.
Going back to it and everything.
Cool with that.
All right, that gives us 2 more spots.
I think Christina mentioned it already. The reason I don't think anybody has brought up Majora's Mask is because we've kind of all decided we didn't want this to just be all one franchise. Otherwise, honestly, I think it would be on there.
I really loved the story of Majora's Mask. I think I was more obsessed with Majora. Like, Ocarina played better in certain ways, I think, but I was obsessed more with Majora's Mask. So, please do not think that we do not like that game.
Yeah, I think for me, Ocarina is a better game, but like that is like, Ocarina is an A triple plus and like Majora is an A plus or something. It's like a slight step down, but it's not you could very easily make the argument it should be one of the 5 best games, but we don't want all 3 Mario parties.
Some diversity into the list.
Yeah.
Do you want to add Perfect Dark as one of those as well?
Like I said, Perfect Dark or GoldenEye, I come up as being in the same category. So it's like when we were like racing games, they feel like same category. One should probably go on this list.
Yeah.
And it seems like we're leaning Perfect Dark.
Yeah, I think I'm okay with Perfect Dark. I think that is a more complete package. Particularly if you have the RAM cart.
So then that leaves Pokemon Snap, a Mario Party game. Oh,
I'm going to throw an idea out there. I'm just saying it's probably we don't have to talk anymore after this. Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling has a cosmic bowling mode. It's pretty sick. Just saying.
Sick seems the appropriate term for that suggestion.
I'm glad you liked it.
I'll make an argument for 2 games here real quick.
Brunswick Circuit Pro Bowling, obviously, that's one of them. Yeah, I just said that one, Justin.
WCW NWO Revenge. I will say wrestling games for the past 30 plus years have been chasing these games.
Yeah.
And you could say No Mercy in place of it. But for the past 30 years, wrestling games have been chasing these. I don't think they've ever made a wrestling game as accessible, as pick up and play, as much of a fun party game as these games were of this generation. And so I think there's something to be said for that. The other one I'll say real quick, Rogue Squadron. Rogue Squadron is basically Star Fox 64, but better. Yes, they made an even better version eventually with Rogue Leader, which is a sequel to it. But like that game at the time on a console just felt really exciting and different and, a huge breath of fresh air. And if I'm going back to play Nintendo 64, I feel like I can go back and play that game today. Which is sort of why I'm looking at all these. Would I go back and play these games still today?
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, I think that's where like something like Paper Mario ends up falling off a list for me because it's like I would go to Thousand Year Door before the original.
Yeah, and that's kind of what we talked about with Smash Brothers, right? Like Smash Brothers, amazing at the time. I played dozens and dozens of hours of that game. But I would go to Melee or Ultimate.
And I mean, like an RPG, maybe that's a little less fair to say that about, but I do still feel the same way.
What about Mario Party then, if we're holding it up to that standard? I would go back and maybe play 3 before I played, I don't know. The most recent one's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's been better Mario parties since those.
Yeah.
I think
But
the first one or two on the GameCube are pretty good.
Yeah, that's true.
But I don't think that excludes it, right?
Of course not.
I mean, I'm using that as a way to say, okay, maybe not Smash Brothers, but like I don't think we have to hold hard and fast to that.
Yeah.
That's fair.
I mean, I would say with something like WCW NWO Revenge, I don't think they've made a better wrestling game since that and No Mercy. And that would be my argument for those. Whereas with Mario Party, I think that becomes more of a question of taste. Like, which one do you prefer?
Sure.
I'm okay with doing a wrestling game.
Yeah, I'm fine with that too.
And I played this one, the WCW NWO.
Well, I'm also fine with one of these others. I wasn't trying to make that as an
Yeah.
argument. I was trying to explain.
No, I think that's a legit reason to go to in terms of like, have they ever matched something like this? Because you could, I know I think we've already added F-Zero, but like that would be potentially the reason for Diddy Kong, right? There's literally have not made that game. I mean, they remade it for like the 3DS, but they've made F-Zeros.
Well, they've done that
then,
with Ocarina and Mario 64, right? Like, I don't think a remake, should count.
I think that also shows like a breadth of games that were on this. If that makes like adding the wrestling game. Because we have the platformers, we have the Zelda, which I know is like kind of falls in that category, but also feels like a category above or different at least.
Well, Zelda's an adventure game more than a platformer.
Action adventure.
For sure. We have a racing. We have Perfect Dark, which again feels a little different than.
It's a shooter, first person shooter. I'm fine with NWO.
Okay. So our 5 best games are Ocarina of Time, Mario 64, F-Zero X, Perfect Dark, and in WCW NWO Revenge. We should rank these.
Oh, okay.
Ocarina. Well, yes, Ocarina.
I think WCW 5.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I'd go Ocarina 1, Super Mario 64 2.
2, agreed. To be honest,
What are our other two? Perfect Dark
F-Zero and Perfect
F-Zero.
Dark. To be honest, I didn't play those. Like, I saw them being played. My cousin had them, but I did not play those.
I would say maybe Perfect Dark 3 and F-Zero 4.
I was going to say F-Zero 3 just because while I think Perfect Dark is awesome, first-person shooters on the N64 were just a little janky.
Sure.
Before the dual stick. So whereas a racing game, and that game controls pretty flawlessly.
Yeah, I
think
think
it's more accessible as well.
Thinking about it from today,
Yeah.
right? Like Perfect Dark is harder to go back to. I mean, they did those ports for like the Xbox 360, and that's probably the way to play it today because you can play it with dual stick controls. But yeah, I think F-Zero holds up better just because of our expectations of how a game should play today.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you could put F-Zero in just about anybody's hands, and there wouldn't be like, oh, this game feels so
Dated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One more that I didn't mention, Conker's Bad Fur Day. Okay, I'm done.
I have really bad experiences, so I think I would have fought to keep that game off. Not because I think that game is bad, but because my personal experience with it was terrible.
That's fair.
The game crashed on me like 6 times, and I was like, I can't do this.
I think my issue with that is I just think Banjo's a much better game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it was one of those that I was like, this
Christina
was on
just
the
wants
list.
to indulge her poop monster.
The poop monster was funny.
Christina's poop monster is my cosmic bowling.
Yeah. Honestly fair.
I think the thing, like looking back at that game that's difficult now to sort of comprehend is like how shocking it was that game came out on the Nintendo 64 and that Nintendo were the ones behind it. I know Rare made it, but Nintendo published it.
Yeah.
And that game really felt like, what is Nintendo doing here? Right? Like, so, yeah, like the poop monster is very stupid, but like...
Well, and all of the like sexual jokes that were in it, it was like, especially because now we think of Nintendo as being like the family-friendly company, at least out of the major ones, right?
But they probably are less family friendly today than they ever have been.
I mean, that's fair.
They're like they allow more onto their system today,
Yes.
right?
But they don't release as much. Like, what was it? What was the word you? Oh, the publish. Or do they? I don't know.
Well, they probably don't publish as controversial games. I mean, like the last game I can remember Nintendo publishing that might have raised eyebrows would be something like Eternal Darkness in the GameCube era, right? Yeah. Like that was an M-rated horror game.
Sure, I think the one that came to mind was like Metroid Dread. Like that's a T-rated game that's like a little scary, but yeah.
Yeah, but like even that, like, you know, there's not
It's not fits like, the context of Metroid well.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to mention it. Anyway, what is our top 5?
All right, our top 5 best Nintendo 64 games. We're going to make a lot of people mad with this list. At number 5 is WCW NWO Revenge.
I think that's the only one people will have any. I think the other 4 people, I don't think you can argue the other 4 being very good games.
For sure.
I don't think you can argue that not being, well, I guess some people can. They just didn't like those games. But like, you know, I still make the argument that might be the best wrestling game ever made, that and No Mercy.
Oh, I think it's one of those, like, that game is purely like, that's a taste choice, right? Yes, whereas I think the other 4, if you were going down like Metacritic's list, I don't think you're getting very far before you see those other 4.
Yeah, I think that's fair. At number 4 is Perfect Dark. At number 3 is F-Zero X. At number 2 is Super Mario 64. And at number 1 is The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And maybe a very appropriate list because we're potentially getting a remake of Ocarina of Time this year. It seems like it after that Star Fox remake came to pass. And all these games that we talked about are fantastic. We mentioned Star Fox very briefly, but like that's a fantastic game.
I loved that game.
Yeah. There is a rumor that Star Fox remake, and we talked about it on last episode, which is why we did not talk about it here, but that there might be more to that remake than Nintendo has let on. Apparently, as part of their what is the Nintendo Today app?
Yeah.
They said, we'll have more information about this coming soon, which people have interpreted as there might be more to that game than they have revealed.
I mean, it would be cool if so they show mostly that it is a remake. It would be cool if like that was like a playable, what am I trying to say? Like that was one way to play through it, and then they had other things as well.
Additional levels.
Yes.
For what is an incredibly short game.
For sure.
We talked about that last episode.
Yeah. I know. I saw all the Star Fox stuff on it, and I was like, I bet this was put in here for me, so I feel bad.
All right. Well, that does it for this week's episode. Thank you to Mario and Christina. Thank you for listening. As we said at the top of the show, this will be our last episode as we're going on hiatus till probably July, August sometime. We'll see how our schedules work out and everything. Obviously over the summer, there's going to be the Summer Games Fest. There will be big, huge announcements. We might be desperate to talk about some of those. So we'll see what happens with our schedules and everything. But in the meantime, check out SalukiGames.com. You can find old episodes and other content published on there. You can send us an email if you have ideas for our big question, or you have comments, you want to tell us that we're idiots for excluding Diddy Kong Racing on this list.
Or Banjo.
Or Conquer, or Brunswick Bowling, whatever you want.
True. I'll support you in that email.
You can go ahead and email us at justin.young@siu.edu. And whenever we get back, we'll try to read those as part of the next episode. But until then, take care of yourselves over the summer. Play lots of fun things like Mixtape and Librarian. Tidy Up Arcane Library? Is that the
Arcane Library?
The Arcane Library, or maybe even Resident Evil Gaiden to figure out is Mario out of his mind with enjoying that game or not. But until then, play something fun, take care of yourselves, and we will be back not too soon, but not too much into the distant future.